a similar morning to the other day. Oh, hold on. I gotta get some coffee. Um, yeah, I think just looking at the videos I've posted, there's really only, besides the fact that I'm recommending the books like Chess and Train Dreams, there's no real great idea of whether or not I'm a good source to listen to when it comes to books. And I made one video that was about books I don't really like that much, or like a style maybe. But I've mentioned, I think, very little about, maybe besides that Sylvia Plath video, which is, in the realm of poetry, so how useful is that for anyone, really? Um, so I've got a few all-time favorite books. The unfortunate thing is that I don't own any of them because I keep giving them away because I love them so much. So as soon as I hear somebody hasn't read one of them, I just immediately go to my personal collection and give it to them. And the first rule of book lending is probably don't lend anything you're not prepared to get back. And I've never gotten one back. Hopefully that means they liked them. I'm going to talk about one of them today, and that book is Bluets by Maggie Nelson. This book is a masterpiece. It's very small. It's like this big, maybe. And it's written in this form that's very strange. I've mentioned Maggie Nelson before, I think, for her book Jane, which is a novel in verse. So it's poetry, it's epistolary. That book is a hybrid, like the definition of a hybrid book. And Bluets is a little strange too. It is each section looks like a prose poem or a paragraph maybe, and they're numbered, but they're very tangential. Sometimes she goes off on a quote from somebody and a reflection of that quote. Sometimes it's deeply personal and about her relationship with a partner. Sometimes it's a combination of the two. Sometimes it's about a visual artist. It's all of these amazing things that she's compiled, all on the theme of the color blue and her love of it. And somehow, with this premise, she creates one of the most compelling reads, one of the best crafted line-to-line books of all time. I've read it a dozen times, and that's usually because I read it in one sitting every time I start it. It's really funny. She gave an interview with the Paris Review recently. So maybe to clarify the structure, it's like one, the number one piece of writing, two piece of writing, three piece of writing. All the way down, there's probably 70 or so sections that do that. And it's deceptive in its craft, in that it feels like it should be easy to write. All you do is write sort of related things and tack numbers onto them. She gave an interview at the Paris Review recently. I was kind of making fun of the same thing, which is, people think if you just write something and tack numbers onto it, you can achieve the same thing that she did. And that speaks to how perfect her book is that you can't tell how much time and attention went into it. It's what makes Kurt Vonnegut great too, is you read it and you go, I could do this. And then you sit down to do it and you absolutely cannot. I know this because I tried. I tried doing that. As soon as I read it, I was like, oh, yeah, this is a great form. Why don't I try and do that? And I got very lucky. All right, I'm going to do the thing that I said I wasn't going to do, which is I'm going to leave the frame, and I don't feel like pausing. Okay, I'm going to pause. Okay, I'm unpausing. Sorry about that. I don't know how that's gonna read. I've never paused one of these videos before, but I had to go get a book. This book is called Becoming. This is my own poetry book. It's my second chat book, and the reason I'm bringing it up isn't for self-promo purposes, but it's because this is what became of my attempt at writing, like Bluets, where you can kind of see on the page, maybe, these separate boxes of text that all deal with very different. No one of them kind of leads into the other, but when read as a whole, the idea is that they are supposed to come together. The other side of the page is a blackout poem of the same text. So this text, this is a blackout poem from it. So I tried basically to steal this Maggie Nelson form. Couldn't do it. I'm just not a good enough writer right now, or I don't have the patience to craft it. I think that book, it's like this big. Took her maybe 8 years to write. And that's amazing to me. That kind of patience and work ethic is crazy. So I had to find my own form, which was to do it in columns and to put a blackout poem next to it. So this degree of separation, so it didn't read like I was just doing a bad iteration of what Maggie Nelson was doing. But to me, this is how I knew this was one of my favorite books of all time. Even if, in terms of content, even if I didn't love the content, which I do love, the fact that I wanted to write a book and was inspired enough to try to write something similar, I think speaks absolute volumes about the quality of the piece. Because I've read a lot of good books in my life and have never, maybe not never, but not felt that compelled to try my own. Maggie Nelson, I'm convinced, is a genius. I think the world is pretty convinced of this too. She's won like a MacArthur Fellowship and a Guggenheim. You know, she's won all the awards and grants you can, and her books are great. She just came out with a new book this year, actually, called Pathomata. That's also very good. Also kind of a hybrid form. Also very short. She's the best. Some of her other books that are great, The Argonauts, that was probably her big breakout book. She has some essays that I don't really love. They're maybe too academic for me. I like the more creative side of her work. Not to say essays can't be creative, but I just didn't relate to it as much as her other stuff. But yeah, Bluets, it's this beautiful story about obsession, about love, about color, about relationships, about kind of everything you could imagine. 8 years of life boiled down to 60 paragraphs. She's so precise. I highly recommend it. I'm sorry I don't have a copy of the book to show you, but it might just be worth a cursory search at your local bookstore or maybe online, because this is it's in the top 3 for me. It might just be the favorite book, but it's at the very least in the top 3. So I figured I'd cover it. And if you read it and love it, then you know you can trust me. Or if you've read it and loved it, then we're on the same page, and that's great. And if you loved it and hated it, well, then maybe you don't keep watching these videos. I don't know. I'm just trying to put all of this in context, and I hope that helps in some way. Plus, I'll take any excuse to talk about Maggie Nelson and to promote her work because she's phenomenal. Thanks for watching.